What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Gaming Central Show. My name's Greg. I'm one of your hosts. As always, I'm joined by Corey. How are you doing, Corey?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
I am fan-freaking-tastic. How's the quarantine going where you live?
It's good. I got back from Utah Monday? Was that Monday? I don't know. I drove 18 hours to Utah to look at houses. It was very essential, so don't get mad that I traveled to Utah. I stayed very far away from everyone, lots of hand sanitizer and wiping. Most of our showings were just like, us going in the house by ourselves, not even a person there. So, so now I'm 2-week quarantine from work, and I plan on gaming a lot during it.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you guys kept the 6 feet rule while driving. Like, one of you would be in the trunk and the other would be driving, right?
I actually drove outside of the car. That way,
man,
the metal barrier was there.
Innovation. I like it. All right, well, guys, as you might know, as you might not know, this is the Gaming Central Show. It's a show that me and my friend Corey get together on a weekly basis. We release it on Monday on this YouTube channel. Little caveat today on this week's show, we're a little late. And as you might know, we're both working adults. We both have lives outside of this show. So we will do our very best to get it every Monday to you, but sometimes life happens. And we'll try and give you a heads up ahead of time, but this time it kind of snuck up on us.
It was my fault because of Utah.
It's all his fault. It's all his. Really, it's your fiance's fault for being in med school and getting residency.
I'm just kidding.
Women. Am I right?
Yeah.
Gosh. Anyway, back to our introduction. Now, this is, for those of you who don't know, this is the Gaming Central Show. We get together on a weekly basis and we discuss our monthly game club entries. What's a game club? Think of it like a book club for video games. And if you guys want to be a part of it rather than just listen, feel free to join in on the fun by joining our Facebook group, Game Club, and the sister group where we got the whole idea for this show, Gaming Central. Little fun fact, Corey is the grand poopah, the original creator of Gaming Central. So you have to kiss his ring to get in, but he's got fat fingers, so the ring's easy to kiss. We also discuss another group of video games that we like to call Dude Play. This game is determined by either myself or Corey. By the way, he is right there. That's why I'm doing that. Obviously, you can see.
High five, Greg.
High five. Anyway, so Dude Play is where myself or Corey, we decide a game that we want to play. And essentially, we get the name for this group by saying, dude, we got to play this game. So we get together and we play that game and we'd like to talk about it here. So feel free to play those games as well with us.
And we had a girl comment asking if girls can also do Dude Play. Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
Girls are dudes too.
If you want us to make it more friendly, we can say dudette play. I'd be more than willing.
I just picture Kel. I'm a dude. He's a dude. She's a dude.
Absolutely, we're all dudes. Absolutely, we can definitely be. If a girl can be a bro, a girl can be a dude. So finally, after all that, near the end of the show, we like to explore other video game topics other than just video games themselves. So we like to step aside from video games and go into the nerd corner. What's a nerd corner? Well, I'm glad you asked. Nerd corner is where Corey and I step into a corner, figuratively, not literally, and we take turns picking some sort of nerdy media that we want to dive into, and then we break that down for y'all. Big note that I want to make known here, when we're discussing our video games and we're doing our reviews of that, we'll do everything in our physically possible way, literally, to not spoil anything when it comes to these reviews. When it comes to the nerd corner, it's a little more difficult. For instance, if we're reviewing the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, we can't really discuss it in depth if we don't talk about the story. With video games, it's a little easier to talk about. There's more ways to break down and discuss, but with the nerd corner, again, we'll try and be spoiler free, but sometimes spoilers will happen.
True.
Now, moving on. We'll just kind of start off with, Corey, what are you playing? What you up to? What you playing, boy?
I'm glad you asked. I am on chapter 21 out of 30. By the way, you were very correct. There are 30 chapters. I don't know. I looked at some website that said 20, and then I went to IGN and there's 30. So I'm on chapter 21 out of 30 on God of War Ascension. So chugging away through that game. popping some trophies and popping some heads.
You getting the platinum on that?
No.
No?
No.
No, I don't.
I don't think I'd want to play through it again on the hardest difficulty. But I don't know. I'm getting all the trophies I can. Like I'm upgrading everything, and I mean, if it's literally I do everything except beat it on the hardest, I might try it again. But then again, you said I have to buy I might have the code though, actually.
Yeah, I didn't have a redeemable code, but you bought it brand new when it first came out, so you might have a redeemable code.
Yeah, it's probably expired. But so that's the first game I'm playing. What's the first game you've been playing, sir?
Other than the games we're going to talk about today, I haven't been playing a whole lot, so sorry about that. But one game that I have been playing, and I actually did beat, was Game of Thrones, the Telltale games. Now,
there you go.
So that's platinum number 26 for me. Whoop, whoop. Oh, side note, Corey and I like to proclaim ourselves as trophy whores. If you didn't know, achievement hunters. We like to go for the extra stuff, if at all possible. And since we're predominantly PlayStation players, we do play other systems. Don't worry. Since we're predominantly PlayStation players, we do like platinum trophies. Now, Game of Thrones Telltale games. Very, very easy platinum. You just got to beat the game, as most Telltale games are, if not all Telltale games. Basically. I think, or you just beat it. My complaint, can I just go on a little rant here?
Sure, rant away, sir.
As someone who loves Game of Thrones, I was a big watcher of the show. My wife and I loved it. We watched every episode as soon as we could. Very, very happy with it. Now, without spoiling this game and without really spoiling the Game of Thrones show, this game takes part during Ramsay Snow being a prominent person in the Game of Thrones world. Now, if you've seen the TV shows, you know what I'm talking about. You know the character because he's a very important piece to the show itself. I want to say it's like 2 seasons that he's a part of, really. And he's one of, I don't want to spoil too much, but he is not very well liked. Let's just say that.
Not at all.
He's kind of a jerk. Now you take part of a house that's like not really mentioned in the show really at all. If I'm not mistaken, you're a part of the Forrester house. I don't remember it. It might have been mentioned at like some battles or something, but no one was prominent in the show that's on this game. Now the end of it takes place at the end of Ramsay Snow, like time period. So you're basically when Ramsay Snow comes in, and when his part in the show ends, that's where you are in this game.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm glad they did it that way though, instead of just rehashing the show basically.
Absolutely, yeah. So like, if you watch the show, you wouldn't know exactly what's happening.
I'm curious. Do you know is the game story based on the books? Like, is that story arc in the book? Like
the Forrester family? Is that what you're talking about?
Whatever the story is going over, is it in the books or is it just?
I don't know. I haven't read the books. I'm hesitant to start the books because they're not all out. If they were all out, I would read them because I hear they're amazing.
Yeah.
I hear they're even better than the show. But my biggest complaint is that I know that they wanted to stick to the Game of Thrones
lore
storyline and the lore, right? But so like there's certain things I wish you could have done in the game, but like knowing the entirety of the like Game of Thrones lore and the story, I know you can't, but I wish they would have, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But it goes right back to like I was discussing last week. It's a bunch of family versus duty versus honor kind of choices. And at about chapter 4 of 6, I said, screw duty. I'm strictly for my family. and I did not get the best ending. There's multiple endings to this. There's like 13 endings that you can get. It's like there's like 5 different storylines you can follow. So of course, like it's like the ending for all 5 of these, and then like 4 of one's changed, and then another 4 and one's changed. So it's not like dramatically different endings, but there are different endings you can have, and mine was by far not the best ending. Let's just say that I was so mad, and I had to look it up, and I looked at the different endings and possibilities and what is the quote unquote best ending, and I was like, it's not that much better, but I was like, there's no way I did this right.
At least you got the platinum without having to
I got
do
the
all
platinum.
those.
It was fun. I enjoyed the story. I was really engaged in it. The only problem is I wish I could have done more, but I understand them wanting to stay within the realms of the story.
Yeah, I feel you.
Anyway, what's something else you've been playing?
Well, today I decided to pop in Persona 5 Royal. Persona 5 won Game of the Quarter most recently. I'm pretty sure this is the first month of the 3 months, right? Yeah, yeah.
Hey, will you explain what Game of the Quarter is for those listening?
So in Game Club we have Game of the Quarter, also known as the long-ass Game of the Quarter. Greg's staring at me right now.
Yeah, sorry, I was looking at you.
So basically it's a longer game, over 20 hours, and I believe it can be $50 or more.
I think 50.
I'm not sure, yeah. So we vote for that every 3 months, and then the normal game of the month is the shorter game. We do that every month. So yeah, Persona 5 Royal came out the 31st of March, I believe, so it was pretty perfect. And I got the Sexy Steelbook edition. That's probably pretty sure it's the only edition, but whatever.
I think it's just that, because I think Royal itself is kind of like special edition.
Yeah. So I only played about an hour of it, and the story's really cool. The characters seem cool, but so far there's not a lot of gameplay I've done. Like, I looked around a room and clicked X a couple times, and I ran and followed commands a couple times. I got in one little tutorial fight. So about an hour in, I haven't done much actual gameplay.
You haven't played the original, right? Like just Persona 5.
But I did notice a difference. This isn't a spoiler at all, by the way. Like, this is completely irrelevant. Like, you might even want me to say something that way you notice it at all. But whenever a certain character gives you a student ID, because like Persona games, you're in school, like everyone knows that. So you get a student ID, and it does this like weird camera, like look down, like kind of side. It's hard to explain. So you have all the characters on screen talking to each other, and then when she hands you the ID, like a picture pops up over the screen of like the ID laying on the table, and she makes like a weird. He makes like a weird like gesture, and she makes a weird gesture, and I just clicked out of it, and I was like, did I miss something underneath the ID? Why they were making a weird gesture about this ID? So I went to YouTube, and I was like, Persona 5 Let's Play, and the original Persona 5 doesn't show that picture pop up like that. And I was like, oh, that must be one of the Royal changes. So I went to a Royal Let's Play, and it showed it. I couldn't tell what was under it. It's some girly paper. Maybe she's embarrassed. I don't really know what it was. But so yeah, there's a change already from the original. They just threw that in.
There you go. Yeah, so it's basically the definitive edition, correct?
Yeah, there's like added dungeons and stuff.
Yeah, and a couple new characters.
Yeah.
I personally, I've decided I'm gonna just play Royal, like not Royal, just Persona 5. That way, if it's as amazing as everyone says it is, and I have no doubt it is, that way I could go back and play Royal in the future. That way it's a little different, a little expanded. So
and you and I can also compare better like that too.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's a good point. This is a good point.
Yeah, I'm full of them. High five.
High five. Just gotta be quick with it.
Yeah.
And you played anything else?
Just the stuff we're about to talk about. Well, I actually haven't even started either one of those games, but I've beaten one of them already, so it's okay. Oh, and never mind. Continue. Yep, we're good.
You haven't started one, but you beat it. Anyway. All right, moving on. We're going to talk about, now, like I said in the intro, each month, part of Gaming Central and Game Clubs on Facebook. Find them there. Join us. Please have fun with us. We always love meeting new people. Every month, we vote on a game of the month. It's basically a book club for your games, and everyone puts in 2 votes. The stipulations are it has to be under 20 hours. It has to be available under $20. Now, normally, we just do one game of the month, and then every 3 months, we do a game of the quarter or a long game. Since it is like mandatory quarantine and our world is changing so much and a lot of people aren't necessarily working as much or if all, we decided as a group to do 2 game of the months. So the first game of the month is The Last of Us. Very fitting, very very appropriate.
That got the pandemic game of the month. Which is
the pandemic game of the month. It's ironic. And then Spec Ops: The Line. Now, the first game we're going to talk about is Last of Us. So Corey, you want to talk about The Last of Us a little bit?
For those of you living under a rock and don't know about this game, it's developed by Naughty Dog, published by Sony, I believe.
Yes.
So the release date was June 14th, 2013. I originally bought this game day one, and I got I forgot what edition it is. It's like the big edition. It has to do with the pandemic or something.
The clicker edition?
No, I didn't get the... Was there a bigger one than I got?
I don't know. I don't know. Making up names.
But my fiance and I are obsessed with Uncharted. She's actually playing Uncharted 3 right now, trying to get the platinum. So
Naughty Dog only puts out bangers.
Yeah, Naughty Dog
let's just start that right there.
Naughty Dog put it out.
Every game Naughty Dog's ever put out, and I've played, it's amazing. The Jacks, the Jak and Daxters, the Crash, Uncharted, Last of Us, Naughty Dog. Can't go wrong.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, we jumped on this right away, and I beat it right away, and that's the last time I played it, actually. I'm going to play the remaster for this pandemic and do a Let's Play, so look out for that. It's got a 95 on Metacritic. A little low for my taste. 8 out of 10 GameSpot, 9.5 Game Informer, and 10 out of 10 IGN. Colin Moriarty, formerly of IGN and Kind of Funny. The Last of Us is a masterpiece, PlayStation 3's best exclusive, and an absolute must-play, and I agree with him.
Yeah.
What do you think, Greg?
I did not get it day one when it originally came out. I did get it on the PlayStation 3 that winter, I think at Christmas time. And I beat it. No, I remember. I got it for Valentine's Day. Danielle bought it for me for Valentine's Day 2014. My wife, she was my fiance or girlfriend at the time. Girlfriend, because I proposed to me. Sorry. Side note. I asked for
that random lady.
Yeah, that random woman. She bought it for me on Valentine's Day because everyone was freaking out. So I played it in about spring break, I think is when I beat it. So mid-March 2014. And I remember just thinking it was phenomenal. But I never played it since then. And when I bought my PlayStation 4, it was The Last of Us PlayStation 4 edition.
Nice.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
And and that is what I'm playing. I'm playing the definitive edition. I keep saying definitive edition, but because I'm thinking of
I think
Dishonored.
It's Last of Us Remastered, isn't it?
Yeah, remastered. But I'm playing through it. I'm pretty close to the end. I would say it's probably like a 16, 17 hour game. And I'm probably like 12 hours, 10 to 12 hours. And I am, the trophies, for those of you wondering, rated 6 out of 10. And they say it takes about 40 to 70 hours to platinum.
That's ridiculous for a 16-hour game.
I know. And that's why I was like, what? When I first read it. But you have to play through it twice because you have to beat it on survivor difficulty. And that only unlocks after you beat the game on any difficulty. And then there's a couple multiplayer trophies, and then you just got to collect everything and upgrade everything. And you can't upgrade everyone fully until your second playthrough. Side note, as amazing as Naughty Dog is, I hate this. This is a big pet peeve of mine. Like, why are you not going to let me completely upgrade my weapons and my person or whatever on one playthrough? Like, I hate that so much.
Yeah.
So I am kind of going for the platinum. I am essentially going for the platinum on this game because it's such an amazing game, but I don't know if I'm going to get it. I say that because I'm playing through on easy right now. Don't make fun of me. I'm playing through on easy so I can collect all the collectibles. And basically there's like 7 trophies in this trophy case. It gives you no easy trophies for completing certain chapters and stuff. Like the only trophies you get are like collect all the collectibles, upgrade all your weapons, upgrade Joel all the way, beat the game on the different difficulties, and then like the 3 multiplayer trophies. There's no gimme trophies on this, which I hate.
Yeah,
I don't know about you.
Beat it like 3 times and has like 3% of the trophies or something.
Yeah, I just got my second trophy. And I'm 12 hours in, and I'm like, God. And that's because I've been collecting the stuff.
Yeah.
But I don't know what to say about it that hasn't been said already. It's a masterpiece. It really is. It's so great. The relationship between the two main characters, Joel and Ellie, like how you get to see it kind of grow and change several times, go up and down several times throughout the game. And the combat's great. The combat's fun. It's innovative. I do have a complaint. They do a very good job, and this might just because I'm on easy. I don't know if it changes in normal, hard, or survivor. when I'm running around as Joel, like people, like I stay out of sight, right? And if someone sees me, they make it known. They're like, "Hey, he's over here." Ellie, though, or whoever else is with you, because you have other characters that are with you, they just walk. Sometimes they'll just be walking to catch up to me, like right in front of the like you'll see the two, like Ellie and the NPC bad guy, like and nothing. And I'm like,
yeah, it's like that on every difficulty because it gets made fun of a lot for that.
I'm like, she's right there, obviously. Like,
yeah,
anyway,
that's funny.
That's my biggest complaint, just because like it's so realistic in every other way except for that.
Yeah, that game's creepy too at points.
Oh my god! Like I play it with headphones on. It's the only way to play it. Headphones on, because you like hear everything. I legitimately jumped today. I was like, cool.
For those of you who haven't played it, it's post-apocalyptic, like zombie-esque, by the way.
Third-person shooter, survival.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. The characters you meet in it. Oh, it's so good.
Very good. One of the best stories in video games, probably.
Oh, it's so good. I cannot get over how great it is.
Did you hear about the HBO show coming out for it?
Yeah, I did hear about it, but I haven't heard much since the quarantine happened.
The people that did Chernobyl are working on it.
Oh, okay.
And also the actual writers and stuff for Last of Us.
Who are they getting to play Joel?
I don't know. It needs to be, in my opinion, it needs to be the dude, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but the dad from Santa Clarita Diet. If you guys have seen that, that is definitely... Google it right now and tell me he looks like Joel.
Santa Clara Diet?
Santa Clarita Diet.
That's the Netflix, right? Where they eat people?
Yeah.
Santa Clarita Diet. Oh, yeah.
Give him a beard.
Yeah, I can see it. I know this is like a popular dude.
Yeah.
Like, what's his name? Timothy Oliphant?
Yeah. I think that should be Joel.
I think Jamie Lannister should be Joel, but that's just me.
I can see that too.
Jamie Lannister,
and he's already on HBO's payroll, so
yeah, exactly. Like he has experience with them.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good Joel.
Tell me this, Greg. Have you played Left Behind yet? Because I have not. And
I have not.
It comes with the remaster, and I really want to play that.
Yeah, so Left Behind, for those of you who don't know, is a DLC that is added. It gives Ellie's story before she meets Joel.
Yeah.
So, without getting into too much more about it, because I don't want to talk about it. Yeah. They're spoilers.
I don't know much about it, but I know that it does give some stuff away.
Yeah, and man, I cannot stress this enough, guys. If you've never played Last of Us, you need to play Last of Us, especially with Last of Us 2 coming out, and it's delayed, so you got time to beat it now. You need to play this game. If you like stories at all in video games, you need to play it.
Ellie might be one of the, just off the top of my head, the best character developments I've seen in a video game in a while. Just from her going from such a weakling to such a hard ass. Yeah,
I mean, there's definitely a lot of that. I'm a big fan of Joel's development as well throughout this game. Like, the character development is great, but I agree that Ellie, I wouldn't ever consider her weak necessarily, because when you meet her, I don't think she's weak, but I definitely understand what you're saying.
So I'm just going to talk about this story element in a sense that if someone's played it, they'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If they haven't, they'll be completely lost, and that's how I want it.
Okay.
I love how the certain point in this game where a typical story would go a certain way, and this had no problem going the other way.
Yes, like it does that a couple times.
Yeah, it's like your regular story would be like, yeah, this is good. Oh, so you were selfish. Okay, I like it.
It's very it demonstrates, like, this game is so amazing in the sense that it demonstrates human, like, decision making. Yeah. Rather than like people doing the honorable, like not honorable necessarily, but like doing the thing that they should be doing.
The typical in any kind of media thing that they should do.
Yeah, people like do things that they want to do. And I actually have some notes. I forgot I have some notes without going into, let's see. I don't want to go into all of these notes because once you beat it, we can really dive deep into it. Yeah, why don't they see the support characters that I already mentioned that? Ellie, I love Ellie's sass throughout the
Yeah,
whole.
she's so sassy.
Like she's like to a T. Like she has the sarcastic remark every time, and a little too much at times, I think. But she's a teenager and she
can
plays
be a
it
brat.
really well. Yeah. The music is super somber throughout the entire game. Like it's so like quiet and like very like relaxing if you weren't in like a creepy environment, which makes it super creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a scary game. It is scary. Like, but it's not like Dead Space or BioShock where you're like on the edge of your seat, like I'm about to get afraid. They do a really good job of like making you feel like the people would in this world. You know, like there's times when you could let your guard down and you're like, oh, okay, cool, yeah.
Like during the Jurassic Park Easter egg.
Yeah, exactly.
That was such a good Easter egg. It's just so good. There's
several Easter eggs throughout this. I did see a note like it's post-apocalyptic, like 20 years in the future, right after this apocalypse happens, and so you go. There's a lot of houses that are abandoned, and there's like people that have spray painted stuff on the wall. I found a really funny one today that made me laugh. It said, "Don't drink Ed's tea. It has the virus." I was like, this is a random thing that they didn't have to put, but I love it.
Did you find the Jack and Daxter stuffed animal?
Not yet.
Oh,
is it early in the game? Did I miss it? I can't
remember. It's just laying on a bed. I was like, whoa, that's Jack.
Yeah. There's definitely some, without it being Naughty Dog, there's certain things that are like paying tribute to modern day things. There's a Dawn of the Wolf movie that they advertise everywhere, and it's like this werewolf guy, but he's more Wolverine looking. Like he's a werewolf vampire or something, and he's holding like a teenage girl, so it's like a love flick. And Joel even talks about it at one point with Ellie as a optional conversation, and he said, yeah, it's like a teenage romance. And I laughed because I'm like, this is obviously calling like comparison to Twilight. It's just so great, and I'm like, they're making fun of Twilight, and it's great.
It'd be funny if a game called that came out in like 20 years.
Dawn of the Wolf.
Yeah.
That, like, Naughty Dog has been known to do that kind of stuff, like add stuff in games so that everyone's like, oh, that's funny, and then like expand upon that later in games. Mm-hmm. And you're like, what? So I appreciate that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Although, great game, fun game. Play it if you haven't. I'm excited for you to play it so we can really dive deep down into it.
Yeah, we'll give a rating maybe next episode if I can get far enough into it by then.
Yeah, we can do a rating next episode, or at the very least, the episode after that at the end of the month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
All right. Anything else you want to add on it?
Just that it's stupid that Ellen Page tried to sue them over Ellie.
Now, if you look at the original concept before they redid Ellie, like there's not a huge change, but I'm like, okay, I can definitely see a little resemblance here.
And her name's Ellie.
Ellie. And I actually read into that a little bit when I started this game because I remember that being a thing.
I'd be flattered, honestly.
The big issue that she had with it,
Beyond Two Souls.
She was already on a video game. If she was not in a video game at all, I doubt she had an issue. But she was working on Beyond Two Souls.
Yeah,
you get it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, moving on. Our other game of the month game is Spec Ops: The Line. This is a Generation 3 game for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360s, and Windows. It's a third-person action third-person shooter. Now, Corey, have you started this game?
No, and I did not know it was a third-person shooter. I was expecting a first-person.
Yeah. Unless I was mistaken in my research.
I mean, you might be right. I haven't even looked into it.
I haven't played it yet either. Just full note, like, guys, I have a hard time playing a bunch of different games at once because I'll quit games if I do it that way. So I try and play games straight through. So I plan on beating Last of Us probably this week and then starting Spec Ops sometime this week.
I'm the type that plays like 4 games at once, and then I won't beat a game for a while, and all of a sudden I have 4 game beats.
Yeah, it's like like Ni no Kuni took you like 5 months to beat?
Something like that.
It took forever. Yeah. Now the developer is Jaeger Development. Have you heard of Jaeger Developer?
Nope.
No. So I hadn't either. It was developed by Jaeger, published by 2K. 2K, we know, obviously, is a big publishing company. Jaeger is popular has made 4 games: Spec Ops, Dredgenaught, and Jaeger, and then another game that's to be released in 2019. Dredgenaught, Jaeger, and this Dredgenaught and this other game that's coming out in 2019 are combat simulators for the PC.
2019 is long gone.
Okay, you're right. It's 2020. So it was an early release in 2019 is what the thing was saying. So they have 2 combat simulators and then 2 third-person shooters. Now, I've never heard of these other combat simulators games, but I'm not a big flight combat simulator type of guy. So that's probably why. Yeah. Anyway, I hear this game is really good. It was released June 26, 2012, so it's 8 years old now, or about to be 8 years old. The reception is a little lower. It's a 77 out of Metacritic, 6.5 out of GameSpot, 7.75 out of Game Informer, and 8 out of 10 on IGN. IGN reviewer Mitch Dyer wrote, "For the first time, a game with guns doesn't want you to be the hero. It wants you to feel terrible about trying to be one."
That sounds interesting.
Now, and this game was released early enough that it didn't have like a lot of IGN or other websites will put like a tagline in their the end of their review by their overall score. This game didn't have that, so I kind of had to read through the reviews. I was trying not to read too much because I didn't want to spoil it, but that I pulled that from it. And
good pull, Greg.
From what I understand is that there's multiple endings throughout this game, so there's times throughout the game that it makes you make a decision that changes it. Sort of Telltale-esque, but more of it's a shooter game. So, but it doesn't appear that the focus is on the shooter.
One of the Game Club founders, Kevin, he seems to love this game. So.
Yeah, I think he gave it like his top rating, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah,
but I don't know if I trust him because he doesn't like some games I love.
Yeah, some games I completely agree with him when he posts stuff. You guys can join game clubs and Gaming Central, and you can see all of it.
Good community. Come join it.
Yeah, it's a good community at Facebook. And so Kevin is very good at playing all the games, and so he usually is one of the first guys done with the games every month. And so I kind of listen to his reviews or see his reviews and kind of have an idea going into it. And he was all about this game, all about it. It is on, since it's on PlayStation, I got to talk about the trophies. It is rated a 7 out of 10.
Kind of high.
Kind of high, but it's only 12 to 16 hours for the platinum, according to PlayStationTrophies.org. Now, from my understanding is, I didn't want to read into it too much, but it's like you got to beat it a couple times because you got to have different endings, and you got to beat it on the hardest difficulty.
I probably won't do that.
Yeah, and I know, Corey, I know you don't like playing games on hard, but me personally, like if I see a game,
I play games on hard sometimes.
What's the last game you played on hard?
Uncharted 4 on Crushing.
That you didn't already love the series and you were going for the platinum. Like you only played Uncharted on Crushing because you love the first 3 games and you're like, well, I'm going to get the platinum for this one because I didn't for the other ones.
Oh, you're right. I don't just automatically go to hard. See, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, normal is the way the game is intended to play. Hard goes overkill and easy goes underkill. Normal is what they intended, so I usually stick with that. Unless it's a game I'm trying to just get through really fast, then I'll just do easy.
My thoughts on it are very similar, but if I always look at the trophy guide to see if it is, and if it's like, hey, you got to beat it on hard, I typically will just play it on hard. Like if playing on hard is the only thing that's going to keep me from getting a platinum trophy, I'll beat it on hard.
Yeah.
I ain't scared.
Don't be scared.
And then once I get about a third of the way in and realize I suck at it, I'm abandoning the platinum trophy.
I just don't like how, because I've done that before, and then you get to a certain point where you can't switch the difficulty, and then like you just don't beat the game because of it. Like I was playing Silent Hill Homecoming, and if you played Silent Hill, you know it has the trashiest combat system ever, and it does it on purpose.
I didn't know if Silent Hill really had a combat system.
It does, and it's terrible. Like they don't want you to just fight everything, and so yeah, I screwed myself. I never beat that game because I'm stuck in a place with like no weapons and no health, and I can't change the difficulty. So,
well, if I'm not mistaken, like without getting into it, I've never played any of Silent Hills. Like a lot of the stuff isn't real, right? Like so it's supposed to be like hard, like the monsters and stuff.
Well, the early Silent Hill games, you could do puzzles, and combat had their own difficulties, so I would do combat easy, puzzles hard, and that's like the perfect playthrough for me, but the newer Silent Hills, it was just like a certain difficulty, so...
But they haven't released a Silent Hill since like mid PS3, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's been a lot of evolutions in gameplay since then, so...
Yeah.
Maybe if a newer one came out, and there's talks that there might be one.
Yeah. By the way, Halloween's going to be fun with this podcast.
Oh
I'm going to make Greg do some scary stuff.
Okay, just so you guys know, I'm a really easy jump scare guy. So, like, when I watch scary movies, I have to, like, turn the volume down or, like, plug in ear when I'm watching because I'll just be the whole time. And so video games are no different. Dead Space was almost impossible for me to play.
I got that platinum on hard.
I went for the Dead Space Platinum. The only problem is you got to play through it 2 times, you know? Like, I beat it, and then I started the second playthrough, and I got to a point where, like, I was like, oh, I'm going to have to play the entire again.
It's another one of those ones where you can't upgrade everything in one playthrough.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I played through it the second time, and I got to the point where I was able to upgrade my suit and everything all the way, and I thought that was going to be, like, it. And then I looked through my trophies, and I was like, oh, no, I'm not going to.
I had to play through hard with only the plasma cutter.
I played through... Oh, that was what it was. I played through normal with just the plasma cutter. So I was like, I'll play through the hard difficulty with all the weapons. And then I was like, these weapons aren't that good, and it's still super scary, even though I know where everything is. I was like, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Well, anyways, not to get off track, but I like it when podcasts get off track, so it's okay with me.
I mean, you got to see the nuts and bolts. So, Spec Ops The Line.
Nuts.
We will dive into that. If you guys have played it, let us know. Give us some expectations down below.
Without spoilers.
Without spoilers, please. We're a spoiler-free podcast. Show. Whatever you want to call us. Now, moving on. Corey, let's move on to the dude play.
Okay, so this month's, or this... Not even month. This dude
first play. Episode of this dude play, I guess is
you
know, like because it's gonna take us a couple shows or episodes or whatever, however you want to classify this, to finish these games. I feel like unless we do like a
super quick game,
Limbo or something, you know.
So anyway. Greg picked the first game, did Ni no Kuni 2, and I picked this game, but we kind of came to an agreement because this is how it's supposed to play out. Eventually, it'll play out. The dude play will get revealed live on the show, so if one of us is pissed off, you'll be able to see it, or if one of us is happy. We will be revealing the new Nerd Corner of the show, though. So, but in the future, so this game we both kind of agreed on. I was like, I'm just gonna pick this. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So it is Kingdom Hearts Recoded. I think we brought that up last podcast, but developed by Square Enix.
This is a sparkling water, in case you were wondering. I'm not cracking a cold one.
So, developed by Square Enix and Hand.
Okay, so, little caveat right here. When I was doing the research for this rundown, and when you boot up the game, it'll go through its stuff, like the screens, and Hand pops up. And I was always like, that's weird. So when I was looking up the developers, it's, from what I can understand, Hand is like a cooperative developer. They'll help people make games, and it seems that they specialize in handheld games. So if a game has like a handheld edition, they'll be a part of it.
So what's this acronym stand for?
Oh gosh, dang it! I should have added that. I did look it up. Hold on. Continue, and I'll talk about it.
I guess it's developed and published by Square Enix. If you don't know what Square Enix is, Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo Tales, Kingdom Hearts.
Those are actually the Hand developers.
Oh, these are the Hand. Okay.
Yeah, so Hand stands for I can't say this. Hokkaido Artists Network and Development.
Okay, so they basically help make handheld versions of these games.
Yes.
Okay.
From what I can best understand is they, like, even some of these major games, like, they're not the sole developer, you know.
Okay.
They just kind of help.
So Final Fantasy Fables, Chocobo Tales, Kingdom Hearts 358/2 Days, which we will be getting to eventually. Disney Magical World 2. I actually kind of want to try that game.
It's a DS. Yeah.
Yeah, because I love Disneyland and Disney World. I'm kind of... Anyways.
That's why I put
Digimon
it.
Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition. I have Cyber Sleuth, but not the Complete Edition.
See, I put those in there because I knew you liked these games.
Yeah. See, he knows me. It's like we've been friends for a while.
Oh,
The
man.
release date is November 18th, 2008. I didn't realize how old this game was.
Yeah.
I was
It
like,
is the 4th game in the Kingdom Hearts timeline.
We are trying to play through all of them, by the way, guys, which I know everyone laughs at me and him every time, like, oh, you could just skip these crappy ones. No, we will not skip anything.
No!
Reception,
Yeah.
kind of a crunchy reception.
Yeah.
66 Metacritic, 6.5 out of 10 GameSpot, 6.75 out of 10 Game Informer, 8 for IGN. Look, if you're sick of Kingdom Hearts filler games, I don't blame you, but Kingdom Hearts Recoded may actually get you back in the spirit, and that was Jack DeVries.
And again, this is an older game, so they didn't have like a 1 or 2 like sentence phrase to summarize it all.
Yeah.
But I kind of looked through it and put it in there.
But, so I have, by the way, we're not going to spoil the story in this, but us talking about the worlds isn't going to be a big deal, because literally every single Kingdom Hearts has, like, the exact same worlds, like, over and over again. So
far in our playthroughs.
Yeah, so far. So I have finished Destiny Islands, and I'm at the end of Traverse Town. How are you doing?
I am past Traverse Town. The next world. Do you want me to tell you what the next world is? I'm about 75% of the world after Traverse Town.
Yeah, don't tell me. I don't want to know yet.
I'm about 4.5, just shy of 5 hours in.
Okay. So, these... we're not going to review it yet, are we?
Let's do our initial thoughts, because
Okay.
I have some things I want to throw off you.
Because so far, I think these reviews are a little low. Like, I like the game more than I thought I would. Like, I really didn't expect to like this one, because a lot of people have said this is the worst Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, and I heard that a lot too. I don't know if it's my initial thoughts. Like, again, we do our rating system a little different, and if you don't know, you can check out our last episode for like a more in-depth look. But we rate things on 5 different scales, and then we just take the average of those to get the overall rating for it. And so we can't just say, oh, a game's a 7 or a game's a 6. We actually rate the things that make up that game, and then that's how we get our score. Looking at it now, I don't know if it would get a 66, a 6.5, but I don't know if it'd get an 8 either.
Yeah.
Like, I can't be guaranteed with that, but
Simply put, right now, do you like it?
I do like it, and I did not like it at first. Now, the controls are kind of hard. Like, it's hard to do like a hack and slash adventure type on a handheld, because you don't have I'm spoiled with the dual joysticks,
Yeah, having to turn the camera with the R button or whatever is kind of like, eh.
Yeah, it gets old. What I do really like, without getting too deep into it, because we can do that on our full review, I do like the leveling system. It's like a chip-based grid system.
It's almost like Final Fantasy X's.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's the grid system from Final Fantasy X. That's exactly how I felt. And I really enjoyed that with grid. Final Fantasy 13 tried to like improve upon it, and I think it was way worse.
It was a lot worse.
Yeah. So if you don't know, you're kind of a computer based. It's kind of Mega Man-esque. If you've ever played any of the Battle Networks, it's kind of electronic computer chips is the leveling up system, and you got to be strategic where you put them on the board.
Yeah, think about it like a board game board.
Yeah, so it's a board, and you can put them in different areas, and it's like has different pathways that you can do. They're not all open to you at first, and as you progress and level up and beat certain parts of the game, you get more and more access to it. So I really appreciate that, and I've been playing with it. What do you think of the battle commands?
You mean like, I like how you can plug and play with those. Like, you can kind of customize them and level them up, and I basically just spam them any chance I get while I'm fighting.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I appreciate the fact that there's no limit. There's no MP gauge with this. So I literally, if I get in a battle, do XXXX. It's like...
They just have
a little reload bar. Yeah, clock. Cool. And so I really appreciate that. And I think I didn't like it at first because I thought they were trying to do too much. But then it was really simple to pick up. Once you play with it a little bit and they kind of give you a tutorial on how to do it, I was like, oh, this is really cool. It gives you a lot more customization.
Are you playing on a 3DS?
I am playing on a 3DS.
So you have the stick now?
Yes.
I cannot imagine playing this with a D-pad.
I started the game. That was one of my original frustrations. I started the game on my DS Lite, which does not have a D-pad.
I was like, what are you doing?
And you're like, you can play it on 3DS. I was like, no, you can't. You're like, yeah, you can. I was like, well, let me try. I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. I can totally play with my... Your
save came over, though, right? Since it's a cartridge?
Yeah. Because it's saved to the cartridge. Because I like it, though.
I'm impressed by the battle. Like, I thought it was going to be... Because, like Chain of Memories, I had to do cards because the Game Boy Advance can't support, like, a typical Kingdom Hearts battle system. And so I thought this was going to be kind of the same way. But no, it's a full-on hack and slash like the other Kingdom Hearts. So,
and I appreciate that, but you can kind of tell it's the very early stages of being able to make that transition into the handheld.
It's definitely got some, yes.
There's some frustrations and glitches and stuff with that. But I think, without spoiling it too much, I think the story is kind of recapping number 1 with adding stuff. So it's almost like a definitive story of 1, but they're telling it like it's being told after number 2.
Yeah, because it confused me because Sora, all these people he'd already met in the other 3 games I've played, he didn't know them again. And I was like, did you lose your memories again? Because you literally just lost your memories in Chain of Memories.
Come on, man.
Like, what is going on?
I can definitely understand why people get so confused with this timeline. So it's like, this game takes place after Kingdom Hearts 2, pretty quickly after Kingdom Hearts 2. And, but it's like telling a backstory. And you're like, what?
Yeah. And by the way, we play in release order, everybody, not chronological order. So that's just how I've done everything and how I will continue to do everything. So, and
I prefer release order over chronological order on things I've never played before, for the simple fact is this is how people experienced it and the developers originally told it.
This is how they intended it, yeah.
Yes. Now, if we get through the whole Kingdom Hearts series and love it and want to play through it again, maybe I'll go back and play it in chronological order, maybe, but as of right now, I want to play through it in release order.
I am going to go back and watch the HD cutscenes on PS3 and PS4 to get all the trophies. Yes. My hair is sticking up.
There's no platinum trophy, but it gives you several trophies. I want to say this game is on just about every one of the 1.5, 2.5, Storytell Now, whatever collection. But I want to say it's like 3 hours, 3.5 hours or something like that.
Oh, it's 3.5 hours of cutscenes?
Yeah, because it's just the cutscenes.
Yeah. And
another note I want to say is it really surprised me that it had voice acting.
Mm-hmm. The cutscenes are kind of impressive.
Yeah, it goes from like this typical handheld JRPG where it's just like a picture, like a 2D picture, Paper Mario style, with like text chats, to like when it's actual like an important part, they actually do like digital 3D graphics and
like actual
like the same voice actors from like the main games. So I was like, man, this is freaking awesome. The kid from the Sixth Sense, whatever his name is.
So far, this might be more of a question for when we finish it. Which, if it is, we'll just put it in our back pocket for now. But would you say that someone should play this, or should they just watch the cutscenes?
Man, it depends. I personally, as someone that I want to play a game if I'm going to experience, I'd rather play it than watch it. But as of right now, I don't think you're going to lose anything if you just watch it.
Yeah.
I personally would rather play it, but if I need a recap, I'm more than up to watching the cutscenes over playing it.
Yeah, me personally, I just like to, like, for instance, Greg and I played the original Link's Awakening before the new one came out, because we knew we want to experience that And we never will if we play that new one. So
Yeah,
if I watch these cutscenes, I'm not going to go back and play this on DS. So.
Exactly. I wanted to play it. I want to have that it doesn't mean anything to anyone because it's on DS and there's no trophies or achievements. Like, no one will know other than me that, yes, I played that game.
Yep. Just an experience I'd like to have, as corny as that sounds.
Yep. So
we'll get deeper into this later, though.
I don't have any worked out notes on it because I'm just kind of grinding.
Look forward to the review later. We will actually review it later.
Yeah, we'll talk more about it next week, and we'll dive a little deeper once we get to the actual review.
Yes, sir.
Any last words, thoughts?
Nope.
Anything on those? All right. Now, that concludes the video game section of our show. If you're popping out after this, if not, stay tuned for Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood episodes 1 through 5. Anyway, if you're just a video game lover, don't forget to like and comment if you play these games, your thoughts, your frustrations, your positive notes on them, and we'll be sure to mention those. We'll comment back.
Yeah.
Now, time to move on to the nerdy corner. So, nerd corner. I don't know. I just wanted some sort of.
Hey, before we do the nerd corner.
Yeah.
Can I read some comments on our last episode?
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be great. Let's bring those in.
Right. I didn't have this pulled up all the way, so hang on 1 second.
So I will just freestyle talk while you get it. And so, guys, today... Oh, it snowed yesterday. Did I tell you that? Corey and I live in Oklahoma, not to give too much away.
I was in the mountains when it snowed, though.
Yeah, so it's the middle of April, and it freaking snowed, and I'm like, gosh dang, this apocalypse is happening.
All right, I got them.
Okay, comments.
So, first of all, I mean, we don't get very many comments, so, I will just shout all you guys out.
Absolutely.
Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, Wayne Hawksick.
What up, Wayne?
What's up, Wayne? Wayne likes to propose questions that are outside the norm, and we appreciate it. Did Ross Geller have extreme rage or extreme rage on Friends?
Extreme rage. Ross definitely needs some medications.
Yeah. Gamer Girl Master said a few things here. I want to get into the Spider-Man comic series. You definitely should. If you want to catch up with us, we're going to be doing 6 through 10 at some point. Can Dudettes join the Dude Gameplays Awesome podcast?
Absolutely.
Back? Yay. Of course.
Absolutely. Dudettes are welcome.
She thinks it's weird. The Fantastic Four helped Spider-Man when it's not in the movie Spider-Man.
Yeah, that is strange. That I wish that Fantastic Four was more popular in the cinematic universe, like any cinematic universe, because their powers are really cool. But all the movies have sucked.
Yeah, for them to be the OG Marvel characters, they don't get enough love in the movies and stuff.
And I hear this from people all the time, when it comes to talking about nerdy reviews and comic books and superheroes, that people are dying for a good Fantastic Four show.
Mm-hmm. And then Lupin X Gamer, he's a Let's Player on YouTube. Go check him out.
What up, Lupin?
He said, "Oh, a podcast, cool. Heck yeah." And
cool, man. Thanks for listening.
And then on the actual GC page, which, by the way, guys, I forgot to throw this in there. You will get these on my channel a week late. If you want them early, go to the Gaming Central page.
Mm-hmm.
MT
this
Sharks,
page that you're probably on right now.
Yes. MT Shark 7, aka Mark. Awesome
what up,
podcast.
Mark?
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Mark. Appreciate the kind words.
Dr. Josiah Plays. Yes, I love your vids. Thank you.
Talking about us or you?
It's on the Gaming Central page.
Oh, it's sweet. What's up, man? Yeah.
What up? All right, and
we love you.
And that's all the comments. So leave them, and I will read them.
Yeah. We will definitely have a comment section. I'm a big fan of that. Way to go, Corey.
All right, continue, sir.
Good ad. Okay, so now that we're leaving the video game section, stepping into the nerd corner, I got to choose this week's episode for the nerd corner, and we decided to do Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, not Fullmetal Alchemist, but Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, anime that's very, very popular. It's on Netflix. We did episodes 1 through 5. This episode, I want to say there's 52 episodes total, but I could be wrong. Let me know. So, Corey, as someone who's never seen the show, I personally have seen it a couple times, and it's one of my favorite animes. So, don't feel bad if you're going to say bad things about it. Like, don't think of my personal feelings. I know I'm very important to you and near and dear to your heart, but I want what are your overall impressions from the first 5 episodes? Without getting too deep into what happened in each episode, we'll do that in a second. Just your overall impressions of the show.
I actually love the show. As someone who's very science-minded, it appeals to me because, like, in a lot of media, when it comes to alchemy, they deem it as more of like a magic type thing. But Fullmetal Alchemist seems to basically it's a natural. There's a science to it, so they're all scientists basically that can do these cool feats, and
it makes them like superhuman.
Yeah, and so there's certain rules. There's certain. It's like really deep lore behind alchemy and stuff. It scares some people. Some people think they're heroes and like look up to them. Like it's just like there's certain religious people that think you're playing God. There's certain like it's very deep, very cool concept, and the characters are fun. So very dark too. This is a very dark anime.
Oh my gosh, dude! Like this is why I suggested it because it's known for its highs and lows when it comes to like how it makes you feel. And this show starts off hard, like the first couple episodes, but like there's one episode in particular, we'll get into it. It's just like
that I almost freaking cried in.
Dude, even me watching it a couple times and knew it was coming, I was heartbroken.
I was like, no.
Okay, so let's go ahead and dive in. Episode 1. What are your thoughts? Did you take notes?
I have lots of notes, yes.
Okay, good. Now, like I said earlier in the intro, guys, we are probably going to spoil a lot of this show because we want to discuss it. We want your thoughts if you've seen it. So don't spoil things that haven't happened. But if like we've already like gone over that episode or something we didn't talk about in the episode, feel free to do it. But don't do spoilers for the rest of the show because
please don't.
Because Corey hasn't seen it all, so he doesn't know how it ends. He doesn't know the world explodes at the end. I'm just kidding. That doesn't happen. Or does it? Anyway, so just want to put that caveat. There will be some spoilers in this.
So I don't know how you want to do this. A lot of podcasts I listen to, if they're talking about episodes, someone will kind of recap the episode. But I watched this before I left for Utah, so if you want to, do you have like a quick recap?
Hold on. I will pull it up.
We can even read the little blurb on each episode.
Yep, that's what I was gonna do.
I also inputted one thing in here that I'm going to just throw at you, and if you like it, we can start doing it from now on at the Nerd Corners.
Hit me. Go ahead. Tell me.
Oh, no, it's on episode 2. Oh.
Okay. So, here's the Wikipedia kind of credit, like review. Episode 1. Thank you. The Elric brothers, Edward and Alphonse, the two main characters, have already made a strong reputation for themselves, despite Edward's short military career. Short. They are called upon by the Fuhrer King Bradley and Colonel Roy Mustang to hunt down the freezing alchemist, the rogue stake alchemist Isaac McDougal. Edward and Alphonse ambush and successfully capture the target. However, Edward becomes enraged by McDougal calling him small, and McDougal finds an opening and escapes.
So, first things first, when it comes to this,
I'm the realist.
The show in general, I love how. Actually, I have a question. What's one of my notes? It's a question.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the first thing here is the older brother has insecurities about his size. Lols. It's really funny.
And that's just a recurring theme. I have that a couple times too. It's hilarious.
So you guys who haven't seen this, his little brother's soul basically is attached to this huge suit of armor. So everyone thinks that big suit of armor, big burly armor thing is the Fullmetal Alchemist, and they don't think that the older brother, who's super short, is, and he's very insecure about it. Like, I'm the older brother, bah. But anyways, so there's a bunch of different alchemists, question mark. Is there like one of each, or you know how like, are there multiple ice alchemists, or do you just pick what you want to pursue and you go, or does the state have different ones? You know what I mean? Like,
okay, so it kind of gets into this a little more in episode 2, so I'm kind of foreshadowing. Now, to become a state alchemist, you've got to be versed in alchemy and be able to conjure.
Which basically means you work for the government, you guys.
Yes, so to be a state alchemist, it gives you certain rights. I think they give you the title of major, so you get a pretty high rank in the military.
I'm more meaning by like the types of alchemy.
So
okay, sorry.
Get into that. Sorry. So from my understanding, like different people, just like you and me, have different interests and different backgrounds. So when you learn alchemy, you like specialize in different alchemy. Like it does get into this a little more, but like, so when you pass your test to become an alchemist, the Führer, who is like the king, the president, the ruler of this land, he gives you a title. And so since Edward has like a metal arm and metal leg, and he makes metal, he's called the Fullmetal Alchemist. And so I don't think there's necessarily a rule against there being like another metal specialist alchemist. And we see other alchemists like use metal like alchemy, but I think it's all just like based on their personal abilities. And
I'm thinking it's more of just the show staying interesting, you know? Like if it was real life, I bet like there'd be a random other ice alchemist, you know, here or there.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. I agree. I don't think there's anything preventing there being two different ice alchemists or whatever.
Yeah, which I put, whoa, he froze his own blood. So this dude had nothing to freeze. So this mofo froze his own blood and used it as a weapon. Like, oh my god.
Yep. It was really cool action scenes. And they kind of talk about this whole forbidden taboo thing in episode 1. But they don't really explain it that much.
Yeah, and at this point, I know that Ed is after the Philosopher's Stone because it heightens your alchemy powers or whatever. And I said I'm assuming that the little ball that rolled out was the Philosopher's Stone. I can't remember what happened, though. Did it, like, get lost or something?
It rolled out and kind of disintegrated.
So every Philosopher's Stone... Okay, so we'll get to that.
To that.
I love the outro art.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Whenever they're doing
the intro...
Yeah, the closing credits and stuff. It's like kind of a drawing, which I know all cartoons drawing, but this is like literally like a kid's drawing or something.
Yep.
Yeah, what do you think about the episode?
The episode was really good, and I have very similar things. Ed hates being short, and then I just put the different alchemists that I thought were really cool. So the Freezing Alchemist was the main bad guy in this episode. The Strong Arm Alchemist, the really big buff dude.
He's got his freaking brass knuckles and stuff.
Yeah.
And his mustache thing is weird.
Yeah, and his little curly Q.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite characters throughout the whole show.
I was going to tell you, if you look at him and picture that mustache as being his open mouth, it gets really weird and you can't unsee it.
Oh, dang it. Why you got to do that to me? and then it talks about the Flame Alchemist too, Roy Mustang. So
yeah.
Anyway, that's all I really have on episode 1. It's a really good intro to the series. It gets you hooked.
Yeah.
All right, episode 2. It's called The First Day. As Edward and Alphonse depart for Laurier, a town by train.
I'm just kidding.
L'Oreal, yeah. L'Oreal. Their childhood is shown in a flashback where they learned rudimentary alchemy from their father's books. Upon their mother's death, they attempted to revive her by performing human transmutation, a practice officially considered taboo among alchemists. So this episode really gives you the background of what alchemy is, how Edward and Alphonse learned it, and then really like broke down like the forbidden taboo. So what are your thoughts?
I have weird, a sickness struck the country and took their mother.
Oh gosh, we can't get away from this.
I know.
I thought of that too. I was like, oh gosh, here it comes. We got the corona.
And here is, I would like to start adding in a little trivia to our nerd corners so that we can make sure we're paying attention.
Absolutely. I think I wrote down what you're going to ask me, but go ahead.
How old was the mother when she died?
Oh gosh, I didn't write that one. What was she, 34, something like that?
No, she was only 26.
Okay. How old was Edward
when his mom died?
When his mom died.
Oh, I guess I need to pay attention too. He seems about 10.
He's 12.
Okay.
So, which means 4 years later, when he's an alchemist, he's 16.
Which means his mom had him when she was 16. No.
14.
14. Whoa, I knew that. I knew she was really young.
That kind of goes back to this next question I have for you. What year did his mom die?
1908.
1904 is what I have written down.
I thought it was 1878. I guess that is.
The
It was
19
1878, right?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking on the tombstone it said 1904, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, 1904, because 1878. How do I remember the death?
I don't
when
know.
she was born.
Which kind of goes back to the whole like early 1900s. People were having kids earlier. Like there's some. It was still. It seems like it's like a pseudo European culture. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess thinking about it from back then, it's not that weird.
Yeah. Okay. Continue.
Whenever the grandma and him were arguing with each other, that was like the funniest thing ever. And she, one
Like
of
at the kitchen table.
Yeah, one of the things she called him is kind of funny because you and I joke about this a lot. She called him a micro peewee.
Yeah, she did. Oh, I loved it so much.
Then my last little note here is the black demon lady their dead mother? Creepy. Like,
yeah, so
she's like all upside down. Like,
they don't really go into a whole lot of detail about that in the next couple episodes, but it's like they try to create their mom. And I have a question here. The overview says what could equal a human life. Now, so when they talk about this whole equivalent exchange throughout the whole show, and it's like you can't create something out of nothing. Alchemy is all about equivalent exchange. You can't take a twist tie and make it into a bazooka. You know, like the matter does not equal. You know,
like literally they have to be like around the same size, same weight,
same mass, all same makeup. You can in the same way you can't take like a pillow and make it into a bird, like a living, breathing bird. Like, so they go into this whole all the components that make up a human, like nitrogen, oxygen, calcium, like, and all this stuff. But there's nothing that could equal the soul and human life.
Mm-hmm.
So after he creates this, what did you think of him meeting God? Like, he was like, I'm God. Like this little silhouette creature in this white area. Do you remember that part?
Yeah. Have you ever played Shadow of Destiny on PS2?
I have not.
I need to dude play that then.
Oh.
It's all about alchemy and stuff. And you ever heard of something called? It might even be on the show because like it has a lot to do with alchemy. Homunculus.
Yes.
I'm thinking that thing's a homunculus.
Oh, okay.
But I gotta look in what that is again. It's basically like some kind of powerful being that was created through alchemy, and it kind of like went wrong, I guess. I don't know. So I'm kind of thinking it's something like that. I don't think it's a god, but then again, he's so anti-religion and pro-science that I can see him being wrong at the end about it, but I don't know. Like,
well, the only reason I put God is because he said, "Who are you?" Edward did, and he was like, "I am God. I am what some people call God."
Oh, so maybe he's not the literal God, but he's the...
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I also thought was interesting is when he's in this realm with this all-powerful being, he said, "I'm going to show you the truth. I'm going to show you everything." And so it's like literally like he gets transported into this like abyss, and it looks like all the information in the world is going into his head, and he's like screaming, his head's going to explode.
Yeah.
And then he finally has a moment of realization, and he gets pulled out. And he's like, "No, put me back." He's like, "I'm sorry, you only paid the price you paid is all you could see." And then he takes his arm, and you're like, "What?" Ah!
Wait, that's when he took his leg, right? Because he gave his arm to get his brother back.
Okay, yeah. So he took his leg, and then he gets kicked out, and he's there, and his brother's gone, and that's when he gives up his leg for his brother to be tied to the armor.
See,
all when he was 12 years old.
Yeah. So he gave his arm for his brother, and so I'm thinking, is it because... So I'm guessing there's a higher price to pay if that soul is already dead. That's why he was able to get his brother with just a piece of his arm, because otherwise it'd be like, here's my other arm, bring my mom back, you know what I mean?
Yes, I would probably agree with that.
Yeah, I'm guessing, the price probably went up with her being dead and all, so...
Yeah. So I'm going to say something about this as well, without spoiling anything. Do not. You said you wanted to look into homunculus. Homunculus are discussed in this show, so I would not look up more research on Homunculi.
Okay.
Just heads up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. On to episode 3. Here's a little synopsis. Edward and Alphonse arrive at Luor, where they witness Father Cornello gaining the devotion of the townspeople by performing miraculous transmutations, which they can only believe have been accomplished using a philosopher's stone. They meet Rosé and request to see Cornello. When Cornello realizes that Edward and Alphonse are alchemists, he ambushes them with a chimera. While battling the chimera, Edward unintentionally reveals his prosthetic automale limbs, and Cornello realizes he has attempted the taboo of human transmutation.
So, this was a very interesting episode for me, because... So, not to get too deep into this side of things, but there are a lot of... theories about Jesus back in the day that he might have been. Okay, so I'm not religious, guys, so don't get mad. I'm gonna say this is just there's theories out there that
it's not saying we believe one way or the other. It's just theories.
There's theories out there that Jesus was a magician, and he was able to basically trick everyone with his tricks, because if you think about like Chris Angel nowadays or David Blaine, if they were able to pull any of that back then, it's like, whoa, you know. So this dude, I'm pretty sure that this dude is based off of those theories, because he's using alchemy, but like doing things that alchemists can't do without that stone, and basically passing it off as God's miracles and stuff. So.
And it definitely goes into, like, even, like, he admits, is that he's doing it just to create a following and to use it to take over the world.
Yeah. So
I appreciated the fact that Edward really brings to light the whole science versus religion aspect of it.
Yeah, yeah.
As well.
I also like that, I guess, well, Edward knew right away that it was a Philosopher's Stone. Like, he's like...
Yeah, they both did.
Yeah.
As experienced alchemists, they're like, that's alchemy. That's not miracles. They're alchemy.
And they're even like, how is he making something out of nothing type of thing? But my notes here, I love the science in this show and how Edward is pro-science. So if the stone was fake...
I would say, like, Edward is pro-science, but I think he's also, like, pro-truth.
Yeah.
You know? Like, he's very, like, open about that. He's like, listen... I'm a scientist. This is what I believe. How can I believe this? He's not like you're like, because there's a point where he's having that conversation with
that girl.
Believer of that fake religion that guy's making. He's like, how can I believe that? I know this is a fact. Like, I like how he's like, listen, I don't know if you're right, but I know the facts.
Mm-hmm. I like his line when he says, he lists off everything a human body's made out of, and then he's like, I guess we're pretty cheap. So you can buy all of that at the market down the street. I guess human life is pretty cheap. And she's like, oh, blasphemy!
He's very, like, arrogant when it comes to stuff like that. He's like, I know this is for a fact.
Yeah. And so at the end of this episode, old boy's Philosopher's Stone falls and cracks and disappears, and he mentions it being a fake. And I put, if it was a fake, how was he doing these crazy alchemy feats?
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
So we'll find that out later?
Yes. Yeah, you will. You definitely will.
Okay. I was just like, that makes no sense then.
Yeah, no.
What do your notes say, sir?
Al's always getting mistaken as Full Metal. It happens again. I really love the cartoony animations. So this is obviously an anime, and it's like not a real life person acting. It's cartoon, right? But there's like, it goes even more in depth, like these parts where it's like trying to be funny or like take
like the stuff over his head, like
and so when they find out that they're alchemists, right? Like they're like, oh, you must be the Full Metal Alchemist, and it just shows hordes of people surrounding Alphonse, and then it just shows him in the back like swaying a little bit. He's like, it's not me.
Oh yeah, his face goes away. He's like,
and I just love that little like humor that they're adding, because it's like such a serious, dark show at some points, but then they like make it lighthearted by like doing these little cartoony animations.
Yeah, they throw in some humor every now and then. It's great.
Yeah, so I love those cartoon animations, and they get more and more apparent as you go.
Yeah.
Ed, I have in my notes right here. Ed gave up his right arm for Al to bring him back. This idea of a rebound effect is mentioned when he's fighting. Ed is fighting Father Cornello, however you say his name. He's like they're like changing their arms, and he's like changing his arms using this philosopher's stone, and it like he was making a gun, and a gun got fused to his arms, and Ed was like, oh, it's a rebound. It doesn't really expand on that, but I thought it was interesting. I'm like, oh, so something bad could go along and cause this to happen.
So I must have missed that part. What?
Yeah.
There's a rebound? Does that mean like a glitch, basically?
Kind of, I guess. Like, it doesn't really mention it, but like near the end of the fight when the priest is like trying to make another gun because he's like making bazookas and machine guns, he claps his hands or whatever and like does it, and it becomes his arm. Like his arm becomes black and like covered with the stuff, and it's an incomplete transmutation, I guess. And Edward's like, oh, it must have rebounded. And I was like, are you guys gonna talk about this more? So
that I like that because that goes more into science. You know, it's like you can do an experiment, something like a variable is off, like something's off, like I don't know.
So there's 2 new characters added to the end of this too that seem to be important characters.
Who's that?
Lust and Gluttony.
Gluttony.
No, is because they talk to each other.
Is Lust the girl talking to Gluttony?
Yes, and the Gluttony calls her Lust is the only reason why I know her name's Lust.
I must have missed her getting called Lust. I saw him get called Gluttony, and I was like, oh, he's fat. It makes sense.
Yeah. So she was. He's hard to understand because he's a big fat dude, and he's like, he's like, and he's like not talking very like he has a elementary education, it seems.
Yeah, he's kind of special, but
yeah. You have any other notes on that one? That you want to talk about?
No, I don't.
Okay. So number 4, an alchemist's anguish. A mysterious man with a cross-shaped scar across his face attacks and murders Brigadier General Basque Grand. The Führer, the King Bradley, orders Hughes and Armstrong to use all available resources to stop the murderer. Meanwhile, to avoid being in their debt, Mustang introduces Edward and Alphonse to a state alchemist, Sho Tucker, the sewing life alchemist, who obtained his credentials by creating a chimera which could understand human speech.
So, screw this episode for one.
Yeah, this is the episode, straight up, rips your heart out.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it, so spoiler alert.
2, the main villain in this episode, well, not the main villain, I guess, because there's a dude that I like much worse than who's supposed to be the villain.
Yeah.
The dude with the cross scar that you were talking about, or whatever. He is basically, for those of you who aren't watching this, he's the Blade of the show. It's like, do you ever watch Blade?
Like the
Wesley Snipes
guy? Yeah.
Yeah, he's a vampire.
He's like vampire, but he kills vampires.
Yeah, but he's like a vampire hunter. So this dude is an alchemist, but he wants to take out alchemists. So he's very skilled.
I put that he's a killer bad guy, so he was like he seems pretty sick, you know, like he's like a bad guy where you're like, dude, this guy's kind of cool.
He's also super, super religious, so when he kills someone, he like prays after, like, take their soul and, like, you know, give them everlasting life or whatever and all this stuff, so takes his job very seriously, basically.
And this is like introduced as like a side story among the main story. Like the main story is still around Edward and Alphonse, and it just starts with this, and then they kind of talk about it throughout the episode.
So,
hi.
Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. So do you want to cut right to the chase here? Or do you want to get to it?
So let's just talk about it a little bit.
Okay.
Edward and Alphonse are looking for a way to recover their body, and they think this guy who had experience with chimeras, which are living creatures, can help them.
Chimeras seem to be animal-human fusions.
Animal, like different animals, because we see a chimera in episode 3 that's like a sphinx or something. It's like a lion with it's a couple animals mixed together.
Okay, yeah, so they fuse animals then with their science-y powers and stuff. Anyways.
So it alludes to like he gained his alchemy, like he passed his test by creating a chimera that understood human speech.
But Greg, how in the world can a chimera understand human speech?
Well, I don't want to talk about that yet.
I'm just kidding.
Mustang, the guy who's in charge of Edward and Alphonse, says the only thing that this chimera said was "Please kill me," and then they killed, and then it refused to eat and it died. So that was kind of a creepy, ominous thing to start with.
Yeah.
And the whole time they're over at this guy's house, something kind of seems off.
Right? He has a very cute daughter who's...
Very cute daughter, very cute dog.
Yeah, they're basically a pair. They're attached to the hip, this dog and this daughter. And she gets pretty close to Ed and Alfonso. Like, they're all... Alphonse. Is Alfonso or Alphonse?
Alphonse.
Al. They call him Al. So.
Yeah, they call him Al.
So yeah, they're hanging out a lot, you know. And the dad's super worried that he's going to lose his certification through the state if he doesn't impress them, basically.
Yeah, they brought up a new concept as an assessment day, like once a year that they have to bring whatever research that they've been doing on alchemy to the higher ups, I guess. Yeah. And if it's not productive or beneficial, they can take away their license to be in that army.
Oh, and the mother apparently took off right whenever they got poor. When we went poor for some reason. Did he lose his job? I can't remember what happened.
He was poor before he became an alchemist. Then he became an alchemist 2 years ago, and mom left at the same time.
Okay, yeah. So mom dipped out at that point.
Yeah.
So continue with the.
No, you go ahead. You can talk. So near the end of the episode, Edward and Al are doing research at this guy's library, trying to figure out some sort of answer to a way they can maybe get their bodies back. And so they show up one day and find a chimera that can talk.
Yeah, and it looks a lot like it's kind of white like their dog, and it has long brown hair like the little girl.
And Edward quickly realizes, puts two and two together. He's like, you became an alchemist by creating this chimera 2 years ago when your wife left? He's like, yeah. And he's like, I only have one more question. Where's your daughter and dog? He's like, freaking idiot, freaking jerk, figuring out so quick. And it's like, he admits to fusing his daughter and his dog into a chimera just so he can retain his title.
And it is the saddest thing. Like, this thing...
Oh, my gosh, dude.
It can only say... At first, it was only saying... What was it saying?
It said Edward? Because he introduced him. He's like, hey, this is Edward. And this chimera's like, Edward? And then it was like, Edward, play?
And it kept saying, can we go play now? Over and over again. And... and so you know that the dog and the girl are both gone now. And they're just this special creature... And the dad just doesn't care. He's just hysterical, starts telling Ed that he's exactly like him. They're the same.
Yeah, he's like, you try to make your mom, I try to make a chimera. We're the same. We sacrifice anything to achieve science, is basically what he was getting at. And it goes back to the whole Edward thing. He's like, no. Like, I want the truth, but it's not at any cost.
Yeah, you can't completely change someone's life over it and stuff like that.
Oh, my gosh, yeah.
And dude. Very sad.
Heartbreaking. And at the end, it kind of shows the dude and talking to this chimera, and it's like, Daddy? And I'm just like, oh.
Oh, and while Ed's beating the crap out of him, he's like, Daddy hurt, or something like that.
Oh, yeah. It like goes over there. He's like, Daddy's hurt. And it's like crying a little bit, and you're like, gosh dang it, dude.
Yeah. And then old Mr. Blade of the show kills all the army guys guarding this dude.
Yeah, because he was under house arrest, basically getting in trouble.
Yeah. And he just shows in. He's like, you're not military. How'd you get in here? Like, they were military guys. It shows them just scattered in their own blood because this dude just wrecked them. Yeah. And yeah, he tells this guy he can't play God and kills him. And
then, and even more heartstring, the chimera starts bawling because it's like, Daddy's hurt. Daddy's hurt. And I'm just like, gosh, this thing still wants its dad.
And then he says, I'm gonna I'm gonna put you out of your misery too, basically.
Yeah, and then it shows the dead body, like they're both just in their blood, and I'm just like, ah.
Yeah, so he killed both of them, and
Oh man,
I was happy when the dad got killed, but as soon as he walked over to the other one, I'm like, no, stop!
No.
Has she not been through enough? And poor Alexander, I feel just as bad for the dog.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Because the dog was adorable because it would just jump out of random and land on Edward.
Yeah, like it's super
Woof.
sweet, huge white dog.
Oh my gosh.
Told Lorena about this part and showed her pictures, and she's like, I don't want to see that. Why are you watching that?
It's horrible, right?
Yeah, it is.
So it goes a little more, this episode, like near the end, goes a little more into Scar itself. And not really Scar itself, but talks about like why he might be targeting
only state alchemists.
And it kind of mentions, it was like, well, state alchemists really came into power during the Ishvalan Civil War, and it just kind of leaves it at that. And you're like, oh, something happened. Like there's a civil war at some time.
Yeah. And
yeah,
I have notes though. Do you have notes?
Yeah, I've been going through my notes.
Oh, okay, I have not. So the first of it, did you notice that Naruto run?
Yes.
I forgot who it was. They were like
during
Naruto running, yeah. And then I said, see, this Philosopher's Stone hunt seems kind of like a Dragon Ball hunt. Common anime trope, maybe?
Kind of, yeah.
RPGs tend to do it too.
Yeah.
Oh, all caps. Did he turn Nina and Alexander into that? Horrible father. I knew he was a bad guy from the start. I just feel bad for Alexander. Why is this so sad?
Caps. How could he?
Yeah, I was like, ah.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so.
Well, rest in peace, Nina and Alexander. Everyone, rest in peace.
You will not be missed. Let us know if you guys have seen this show. What your thoughts on this part, because this is a very popular talking point.
Is it?
And people that watch anime, yeah, like it's very well known that this whole sequence, and it's like,
put me through this, Greg.
I know, but it gets good. I promise.
You should have just said, just skip episode 4.
No, it's important. You need that. Like,
I know.
Anyway, all right, episode 5. It's called Reign of Sorrows. This is the last episode we kind of went through together. It's Lieutenant Riza Hawkeye, which is Colonel Roy Mustang's right-hand person, tells Edward and Alphonse that both Tucker and the Chimera have been killed. So it's catching them up on what we've learned. Meanwhile, back in Luore, which is where they fought the priest and the false prophet, Lust and Gluttony attempt to cause a rebellion using the faith of the locals, using Envy, a new character with shape-shifting powers, to disguise herself as Father Cornello. Back in East City, Edward and Alphonse dwell on their limits of their alchemy. They are viciously attacked by Scar.
Oh, that's why he was able to do that stuff, because he was Envy.
Yeah, so it kind of showed us shape-shifting power, and it was like they called him Envy. So I was like, oh, okay.
So was Envy the false dude the whole time?
No, they killed the false dude. It shows
I thought so, but I was like
confused. Killing the false dude. So at this point, we have Envy, Lust, and Gluttony, and I wrote, do we get all 7 deadly sins? Or is this? So I'm guessing that's a theme.
Yeah.
All right. What are your thoughts?
So I have the zombie demon mom again whenever he's dreaming.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
That thing scares me, man.
Yeah, dude, it's creepy.
Ed has a mullet.
It shows him like
done.
He has a French braid the whole time, and so I don't think it's a mullet. I think he has just super long hair that's down in the back.
Yeah. If Ed can fix radios and stuff, why can't he fix Al? I guess he needs both hands, maybe.
Oh, okay. So they fight Scar, and Al's body gets pretty beat up. Edward's arms get destroyed. But yeah, you have to have both arms. Like you see him go.
Yeah.
And he even mentions that he's like, I can't fix you until I get my arm fixed.
So I was kind of worried that the strongman alchemist, I can't remember, I thought he was going to get killed by Scar.
Oh man, that would have been so sad.
But apparently
Louis Armstrong or something like that.
Yeah, but that was a good fight. Like he was holding his own pretty well.
I love it because he's always like, let me show you what the Armstrong family. And he's like flexing and he's always shirtless.
They're always like, why does he always have to strip?
Yeah, it's great.
And he's like tearing everything up, and they're like, "Do you have to destroy the city?"
Yeah. So they do bring up a different point about alchemy here. It's like reconstruction, no, it's like composition. Like you got to know what something's made of. Deconstruction and then reconstruction. And it's like they bring up the part they're like, Scar is an alchemist. Like he's using alchemy to kill these people. And Edward's like, he's just destroying things though.
Yeah, he stops at the deconstruction. He doesn't continue.
Yeah, it's like you need to know composition, then you can destroy something and recreate it using alchemy, but he just stops at the destroy.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was probably the best fight scene so far, you think?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, even better than episode 1 got kind of crazy when he had all his drawings all around the city, but
oh gosh, yeah.
I still think this battle was the best because like it's kind of like when the two, like it was almost like McGregor Pacquiao, like the two.
Oh yeah, the heavyweights.
Yeah, you're just like, whoa, these two are going at it.
Oh yeah. Oh. I love how there's this guy. I don't know what his name is. Hold on, let me look it up. There's like this random dude that's like a part of the military, Mace Hughes, that's it, Colonel Mace Hughes, and he's like in charge of everyone, but he's not like an alchemist.
He's always hiding.
Yeah, like after this big fight and Scar gets away, he like pops up, he's like, well, looks like things are settled down, and they're all like, why didn't you help us? He's like, I can't deal with you superhumans, I'm just a normal dude. I love that. Oh man,
they were also pissed off at him.
Yeah, he's like, you guys are super. I like having that human element where it's like, what you guys are doing is unnormal. It's like not normal. I can't do that.
It's like literally this dude's breaking roads, and you want me to go fight him?
Yeah, what can I do? Pew 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 pew. Yeah, like
yeah.
Oh, also Scar dodged bullets.
Yeah, from an automatic weapon.
Yeah, so I was like, dang, Scar is awesome.
You got him. I just grazed him.
It's like, dang. I did like how it finally explained what the Ishvalan Civil War was.
Yeah.
Oh, it gave us the background on that.
Would you like to explain it?
Oh, yeah. So there's a part, like, it kind of shows a big circle part of the map, kind of this kingdom that we're in. And a little part of it is the Ishvalan territory, which is like, I never really made the connection until they did, but Scar is like has brown skin with red eyes, and everyone else is like Caucasian, right? It never really, like, me being a Caucasian white male, I'm never like, I don't notice that things, and that's my problem and my fault probably. But I never really noticed that there was a different skin tone, and then until they brought it to the attention. I don't know about you.
I didn't even notice. No, I didn't notice that he was darker than them. And he's wearing glasses the whole time. So.
Yeah, he's like, so his glasses get knocked off, and they're like, red eyes? Oh, he also has brown skin. He's an Ishvalan. And so they're talking about the Ishvalan Civil War was a soldier accidentally killed a child, and it started this huge war between the Ishvalans and the government. And the government eventually hired alchemists to just destroy everything, kill everybody and destroy everything. So that's why they're saying, hey, this guy survived that. Of course he wants to kill alchemists because they destroyed everything, his whole culture.
Yeah, so he's kind of an anti-hero if you think about it then.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he killed Nina Xander, so...
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So I can never forgive him for that.
Never.
You will die.
Right. Any other thoughts on this episode?
Nope, it was good. I definitely think we should continue this. Not like right away, but continue it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of ends. This episode ends at a good spot for us too, because it's like Edward's like, we got to go home now and fix my arm, and it's like, oh, they're going home.
Yeah,
so it's a good
down area. Yeah. So, do you want me to reveal the new nerd corner, or do you want to the next nerd corner?
Yeah, before we do that, guys, if you've watched Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood and you want to chime in on your thoughts on these first 5 episodes, let us know below. And if you're on Gaming Central or Game Clubs or whatever you want to talk to us about, we'll talk about it next episode like Corey did this time. Any and all comments will be read and reviewed.
Yes, sir.
So, what is next time on the Nerd Corner?
So, I thought it would be fun to... kind of, since we just did 5 Spider-Man comics,
Yep.
what if we did 5 episodes of the animated series to compare?
Absolutely. I would love that.
I grew up on this show. It was one of my favorite shows ever. Amazing. Like it's known as one of the best superhero shows. So I'm curious to see if it holds up pretty nicely. I haven't watched it in a
episodes
while.
1 through 5 of the Amazing Spider-Man, is that what it is?
I think it's just Spider-Man the animated series.
Okay, yeah.
It's that radioactive Spider-Man. That's what the.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I know the show in my head. Like I can see like clips from it in my head that I've seen. But episodes 1 through 5, absolutely, and we can compare and see how they hold up to the.
Yeah, I'm hoping like Chameleon and all them show up so we can kind of
Chameleon,
digest
freaking
that.
the Tinkerer. Oh, he's an alien. Oh God,
I haven't seen the Tinker. The Tinker is on there. I'm not sure, but yeah. So I think it'll be fun.
So episodes 1 through 5 of Spider-Man the animated series next week, and that should be coming out on Monday. We should be able to have that out on the 20th.
Yep. So you guys should definitely watch that as well. It's on Disney Plus if you have that. So.
Oh, Disney Plus. Okay. Cool.
Greg, do you still have Verizon?
No, I have AT&T.
Never mind then.
But I can get it. Don't worry. I have ways.
Yeah. Watch cartoons online. Woo.
Yeah. Whatever it is, I'll figure out. So, all right. Any other last parting words?
Nope.
All right, guys. That concludes episode 2. Thank you guys for hanging out. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We will let you guys know what we see, and we are excited to see you guys next week. Thanks for hanging out.
Deuces.